And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class.
Good afternoon, learners. Welcome to biology. Today, we're still looking at reproduction, and we started the part of reproduction that we called asexual reproduction. So, basically, we said reproduction is the production of, or is the way organisms produce offspring. It is how new offspring are produced from pre-existing organisms. And we said there are two types of reproduction that we can look at, that is asexual and sexual reproduction. So we first started by looking at the asexual part, which we said in this asexual reproduction, offspring are produced without fusion of gametes, and that a large number of offspring are produced during a short period of time. So we later went down into the types of asexual reproduction. I remember we looked at budding, which we said is the type of asexual reproduction where a bud grows from the organism and later is detached from that organism as a new organism or as a daughter cell from that parent organism. Examples of budding, we said we find yeast and hydra. We also looked at binary fusion, and in binary fusion we said from one parent cell we produce another daughter cell, and later we have two new daughter cells. Examples are amoeba. Amoeba is a type of organism that undergoes binary fusion to reproduce. We also looked at spore formation, and I said spore formation can either undergo both types of reproduction, which is sexual and asexual. In asexual, we said there is formation of what we call spores, and in sexual reproduction, spores are formed by meiosis, and we call them zoospores. Okay, so today I want us to look at the last two types of asexual reproduction. We're going to start with fragmentation. Basically, fragmentation is where a fragment of the existing organism is cut off and becomes a new daughter cell. So in fragmentation, okay, we see that a part or piece, a part of the organism is cut off to become a new daughter organism or cell. Now, examples here, you have Spirogyra and sponges. Okay, sponges are mostly found in water. They are water living organisms. Sponges are actually organisms that look exactly like their name. I'm sure you've seen who SpongeBob is. Most of you like watching that cartoon. SpongeBob is an example of a sponge. So SpongeBob will produce offspring using fragmentation method, which is an asexual type of reproduction. The last one, which is a greater part of asexual reproduction, is vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation. Now, why I said this one is a larger part of the asexual reproduction is that most of the flowers produced asexually are produced by vegetative propagation. This is because in vegetative propagation, we see that new daughter cells are formed from perinating organs such as leaves, stems, branches, and also roots of a plant. So you see that the vegetative parts of a plant may also be used, are also used in this type of asexual reproduction to produce a new plant. Okay, so we'll see that there are two types of vegetative propagation, that is natural propagation and artificial propagation. So what I simply mean by those two types is that propagation of the vegetative parts of a plant can either be naturally or artificial. Artificial in the sense that it will be aided by manpower or something where you cut a stem and grow it again, whereas naturally they also reproduce asexually using their vegetative parts. So we'll first look at the natural propagation. So number one, we have natural propagation. So here, like I said earlier, this is the type of vegetative propagation where vegetative parts of a plant propagate themselves or are used to produce new plants naturally. Okay, the only difference with artificial is that in this case it is happening on its own. So now, natural propagation, we have many types of natural propagation. We have examples such as root tubers. In root tubers, what is it that we see that makes us notice that these are propagated naturally? A root tuber is simply a root that is swollen okay, a root that is swollen with stored food. Okay, now that root has nodes and buds which are able to produce a new plant. So this is a swollen root, and of course it is swollen because of the stored nutrients. Remember when you talked about storage organs in grade 10, you said that roots are storage organs of plants, meaning that all the glucose that is formed from photosynthesis may not be used up by a plant there and then. Some of it is stored in roots. Now, when that food is stored, it is broken down to produce, it may be broken down depending on the plant to produce new plants, okay, like in the case of a root tuber. So this swollen food, the glucose will be used in respiration to produce a new plant asexually. So this swollen root has stored a lot of food and is going to produce a new plant because it has buds and nodes that can grow into a new plant. So it's like there on the root tuber, another plant may grow. Examples of this one: swollen root with nodes that produce new plant. Example, here we have sweet potato and carrots. So you see that carrots and sweet potato are propagated naturally in the form of root tubers. The other types of natural propagation we see are stem tubers. This is a swollen underground stem with nodes, okay? So anytime I write nodes, just know that the reason why I'm adding nodes is because this is the part of that particular plant that will grow into a new daughter plant, okay? with nodes. Examples here of swollen underground stems, we have Irish potato. Okay, so the Irish potato is also undergoes artificial vegetative propagation. The third one, we can look at combs or a comb. Okay. Now, this comb is a vertical underground stem, okay, which has both auxiliary and axial buds from which a new plant is formed, okay. So this is an underground vertical underground stem with axial and auxiliary buds. So these buds are where the new plant grows from. Okay, and an example of this are the crocus species. Okay, we have crocus species in forms of combs that are propagated naturally. The other one, we can look at rhizomes or what is a rhizome? This is also a swollen underground and horizontal. So this one is on the ground but horizontal stem. Okay, now this one has buds and adventitious roots. Okay, adventitious roots. Okay, example, we have ginger. So the ginger people are taking almost every day because of coronavirus. People are told to take a lot of ginger, lemons, and garlic. Is also propagated naturally, and it is a rhizome. So you see that ginger is a swollen stem. You see that it's a very short swollen stem. So underground you'll find it sitting horizontally, and it has buds and adventitious roots from where new nodes come out and form a new plant. So a rhizome example is ginger. We can talk about bulbs. We can talk about bulbs. Now these ones are underground fleshy leaves, okay? Underground fleshy leaves, okay? They also have adventitious roots, and they also have buds from where new plants come out. Obviously, when you hear bulb, the first thing that comes to mind is onion. Okay, so apart from onion, we also have garlic itself, I mentioned earlier. Garlic and onion are examples of bulbs. Okay. You can also look at suckers. Okay. What are suckers? Suckers are underground lateral branches with adventitious roots. Okay. So these are branches, underground and lateral. Branches with adventitious roots and nodes from where and buds from where new branches can branch off from. So suckers, examples are bananas and plantain. Okay, bananas and plantains. Okay. The last one, we can talk about runners, stolons, and vines. Okay. Runners or stolons. Or vines, okay? And these are simply underground stems that grow on top of the ground. Sorry, they are not underground. These are stems that grow on top of the ground. Examples are lawn grasses, okay, so, just to clarify, let me just put horizontal stems, okay. E.g., we have lawn grass, vines themselves, and also sweet potato is also an example of a runner. As you see, sweet potato grows, you will see that when you see sweet potato leaves, you see a lot of stems running. Another plant, again, it will continue running and it will produce another plant and continue running just like that. So that's why we are calling it a runner. So if you want to think of runners, even the grass at home, you see that when you want to pluck out one grass, you end up getting the whole stem coming out of the ground with adventitious roots at the bottom. So lawn grasses, vines, sweet potato are also examples of runners, although sweet potato is also a type of root tuber. So what this basically means is that all these types of plants we have mentioned, ranging from carrots to onion, garlic, lawn grasses, we've talked about ginger, they are reproduced on their own. That is why you see that most farmers that grow these kind of crops do not need any fertilizer. These plants are naturally propagated. So with just one seed, you will produce a lot of them, because we said that an advantage of asexual reproduction is that many offspring are produced in a short time. So let's look at the second type of propagation before we waste any more of our time. Okay, so we'll look at number 2, which is artificial propagation. Okay, so like I said, the sweet potato and the other plants, they reproduce on their own, but when it comes to artificial, we see that there is need for us to aid. So basically you'll find that this type of method is used by most farmers who want to grow new breeds, because you are artificially propagating. So you see that people even use these kinds of method to produce new species of plants. For example, in the production of pink roses, you see that a white rose, okay, is plucked out and combined or layered with a red rose so that they produce a pink rose. So you see that propagation, artificial propagation, to be specific, also brings out variation, okay? It's like the way people want to produce a bulldog from, is it a house dog? They'll either have those two mate to produce another breed of dogs. It happens in plants, and we can use artificial propagation for also that method. So it's also an advantage because you can bring in new breeds or species of plants that you don't have. So here, number one, we'll look at budding. Okay, so remember that budding is a type of asexual reproduction. For example, in yeast, it happens on its own, but you can also use it as a method of propagating, where a bud is used as a scion and put on a stem, okay, tied together to produce a new plant, okay. So here you see that they'll put a bud from another plant or the same plant species, tie it to a stem, okay, that does not have the perinating, that has perinating parts but does not have the parts that are supposed to be flower parts, and that bud will now become the new flower part of the plant, and you will produce a new plant from that. So you see examples of budding. We have in the rose that I talked about, you can use budding for production of roses, okay? Okay, so here we can write roses. Number two, artificially you can do stem cutting. Now, in this type of artificial propagation, the one that we see in sugarcane, you see that the stem is cut just at the node. When you see your sugarcane, it looks like this. Okay. Okay. And I see that when people want to share sugarcane, they usually cut from the node. Okay. So this demarcation in between is a node. Okay. And these are buds. So what happens in sugarcane is that the stem will be cut just from the node, okay, and replanted to produce a new plant, okay. So in stem cutting, you cut your stem just at the node and replant it so that this bud is what will produce a new plant for you on another side of your farm. So this is done in sugarcane. From a plant, and that is layering. Grafting. Okay, that is grafting. In grafting, you see that a stem will be used as the original plant, and a scion from another stem will be tied to that new stem to produce a new plant, okay? So it's like you can get a cut tree without leaves, okay? Put another tree with leaves, put them together, and you start producing leaves from that new tree. That is basically the idea in grafting. So just understand that people are trying to bring in new breeds, or they're trying to continue growing that dead plant. So you can graft by producing in another scion on a stem to graft a plant, okay? And the last one is layering. From the name layering, we know that all plants, all trees, sorry, not plants, most trees have layers, and they will tell you that those layers that you see when a tree is cut are called annual rings. They show the number of years a tree has lived. So you can remove the outer layer, okay, expose the cambium, tie it, put another plant and grow. So that is basically what we are doing in layering, removing a layer from the back of an old tree to produce a new plant from it, where you now put your new tree and it will begin to grow, because that cambium is what you want to link to the new cambium of the new tree. So basically, these artificial propagations are used by farmers that want to grow new breeds that people like. Okay, so before we get confused, let's just do a recap of what we've been doing in asexual reproduction. We said here there is no need for fusion of gametes, and the type of cell division used is meiosis, where a lot of cells are produced at the same time. And we said there are many types of artificial reproduction. One, we talked about budding, where a bud is formed and it will later fall off as a new plant. We looked at binary fusion, where the cytoplasm is broken and a new daughter cell is broken out of the parent cell. Then we also looked at spore formation, where we said spores are formed and they grow into new organs or new cells. We also looked at fragmentation today, where we said a fragment of so this one you can also refer to, it looks similar to budding, because a fragment is simply a part, so it's like a part of a body falls off and becomes a new organism. Same with budding. Remember I said a bud is an outgrowth, so it will be like an outgrowth grows and then later falls off. So the last one we've talked about is vegetative propagation. So here basically there are two types, natural and artificial. Now from the term vegetative, understand that it is the vegetative parts of a plant that are used to grow new plants. What are the vegetative parts of a plant? How do you know the vegetative parts of a plant? We all know which parts of a plant can photosynthesize. Those are what we call vegetative, because there's vegetation in them, there's chlorophyll in them, and these are sometimes roots, stems. We also have leaves and also branches. So here you looked at root tubers, stem tubers, rhizomes, combs, suckers, runners, stolons, etc. And artificial propagation, you can do the budding method, stem cutting, grafting, and layering, depending on what it is that you want to produce. So I'll give you two questions for your homework, and we can end the class. So maybe let's be specific. Discuss let's say 4 advantages of vegetative propagation, and also discuss, number 1, discuss 4 advantages of vegetative propagation. Number 2, explain the importance of reproduction. Discuss 4 advantages of vegetative propagation. And number 2 is explain the importance of reproduction. Okay, so next time we meet, grade 12s, we're going to look at sexual reproduction in a flowering plant. So I want you to look into what sexual reproduction in a flowering plant is. First of all, before you get into the definition, you know what sexual reproduction is. There will be fusion of gametes here, and you know that we'll be talking about a flowering plant. So from the term flowering plant, you should look at which organ in a flowering plant is able to reproduce a new cell, and that is a flower itself. So look at the structure of a flower and the parts of that flower which produce a new cell. That is where you can link the topic to. We'll look at sexual reproduction in a flowering plant. For today, we'll end here. This has been Miss Lessa with Biology Grade 12. Thank you.
And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression. Look at our geographic expression.
And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression. Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression. Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at
Good afternoon, class. these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression. Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. Good afternoon, class. Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression. Good afternoon, class. Good afternoon, class. Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in
are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.